I would like to mention the amazing Mr. Tony DiSanza with Simpl AI, making AI simple.
I think I got this. Right?
Okay, good.
Does this work? Can you hear me? Yep. All right. Good? Okay, good. So, so do I get one of these cups then? Is that what it is? All right, cool. My wife's going to like that. Not that, I mean, I'm drinking coffee today, but anyway. So I'll go through the presentation, but before I did that, so this isn't, even though I haven't been here in years, this isn't the first time I've been in 1 million cups. And the first time I gave a presentation was really for a company that I was working with. Honestly, Susan and I were trying to reminisce about which one it was. And it was either B2C or B2B. And so I didn't think it was a really good use. But after this and what I'm about to talk about, I think this is a really good audience to help discuss what Simpl AI does and what is our challenge, which fundamentally is about, it's a pre-Series A company that develops, and I'll go through this in detail, but a artificial intelligence platform. We call it Agentic AI, which now the purpose for this presentation is that over the last month and a half, we've been talking with Gartner, Forrester, IDC, sharing this. We're pre-Series A and trying to get our pitch right? And so that I can talk to venture capitalists, get Series A funding. But before we do that, Series A is going to talk to us about, what's your sales velocity, what are the things. And so the purpose for today is, I've rehashed, and literally this presentation is a few hours old. So bear with me because this is the second time I've seen these slides. The first time was a couple hours ago. All right, let me see. Okay. Yeah, so this is the cover slide, nothing more than that. But what I said was, it's an agentic AI platform. Artificial intelligence, as you know, is pervasive in the lexicon today. And the audience is figuring out there are a lot of people that are technical, that get it, that use it. You probably have it on your phone, or it's been integrated with a lot of different tools. But where we're taking it, and where a lot of industries taking it, is to the business marketplace, utilizing it to improve business. Okay, so so I tried to structure this. Eric had a really great presentation on LinkedIn, and about 6 slides, 6 minutes, right? So we got 7 slides or 8 slides. Actually, one I'm going to skip over because it was a product demo, but this is where it goes. So I think I've already used 2 of those 6 minutes, so I'm going to go quick. No, but what are we trying to solve, right? What is the issue? Is, that most of the time in many industries, many businesses you have today, there's some inefficiencies. And the fact that there is a tool or there is a technology that could help improve efficiencies. Reduce mundane and repetitive tasks is one thing. That you spend 3 hours or more or less on creative work. But a lot of people don't do a lot of creative work. A lot of people do administrative work that could be potentially, improved upon. At 76, spend less than 3 hours to work on strategic thinking, but at the end of the day, that's at the management level and above. All right.
Use the arrow to the right.
The arrow to the right.
Yeah, on the keyboard.
There's the keyboard.
Note that I
All right, here we go. Sorry, I didn't see the keyboard. Okay, so what's the market size, right? The TAM, the SAM, and the SOM, which is Eric's points on LinkedIn today, right? There's overall AI market is approximately $1.1 trillion. The service addressable market in services, about 400 billion. And, the service obtainable market, where we can potentially get work, is approximately $200 billion worth. 1 billion knowledge workers, okay? So that's technology, and that's the market size. But really, again, artificial intelligence is a very broad term, and there are a lot of things that we can do with it. But what is actually Simpl AI, right? So our solution is a platform. Think of it similarly as everybody use Microsoft Windows, right? Or Apple iOS, right? So that's your foundation for applications to go on top of. Well, think of that Simpl AI is a agentic automation platform for people to use to build solutions to integrate with their current systems, but also improve on manual processes. I'm old enough, and some of you I think are probably in that realm when you heard client server 30 years ago, where we were moving off the mainframe and going to client server, and then realizing that client server meant that you had to have very big terminals, PCs, right? And so then they went back to SaaS, or software as a service, where again you had back-end application, back-end servers. And so this is the next generation, which again is you need compute power, which we're not involved in. We're going to use AWS, Azure, and please, if I'm going too technical, the intent of this presentation is speaking to people in business that may not know, about this type of solution, right? So you've heard about agentic AI, but if you're in a corporation and you have Salesforce, you have Workday, you have, custom applications, and you need to integrate it, you need to improve the process. That's what we're building. Now, there are several other competitors in the marketplace for that, and I actually have a competitor slide, but our vision is to transform workplaces into ecosystems of creativity and strategic thinking, and democratize the type of decision-making and unlocking human productivity. That's the vision, and that's a very broad term, but how we will do that is building a platform to support artificial intelligence applications. And that's, when I say applications, or the agents. So you're building this wholly standalone product that can interact with your data, with trying to figure out what you're trying to do. Right now, we verticalized this to the banking and financial services industry, and we're building things like credit analyst agent that helps the actual chief credit officer or credit officer make better decisions. So what we've built here, you've heard about a lot of these, and I know maybe many of you may not know what those pictures are, but obviously, probably people know that that's Microsoft Azure. This is Gemini from Google, Meta, ChatGPT or OpenAI, Llama from, it's part of Meta, and Cohere. So those are the large language models. Those are the ones that start with building up the platform. We're working with that. And so our platform is integrating all these different solutions. And if you want to do a technical deep dive, we can do that, but not today. Today is just really introducing that we do have this solution that we've built out. We have competitors in the marketplace that are getting much more notoriety or publicity. And so, my goal here is to start evangelizing the product and get people to build the product or trial the product. So we have a business model. So we just released some new pricing, the Simpl AI Cloud. So you don't need to have a subscription to Azure or AWS or so forth. And it has a monthly subscription, where it could start out at free to working with enterprises. We have a starter, which is $99 a month, that gives you a certain amount of credits, okay? Credits are the way that you consume processing power, which, most AI is all about that. And that's probably the most scary thing. Think of, back in the day when we had cell phones and you like to send text messages, and next thing you know, you got your monthly bill and you're like, I sent 1,000. My son sent 1,000 text messages, right? And it's like, what? And I had to shut that off. But that's the same kind of case, is mitigating that and managing processing, because each agent, each call consumes credits. We can also work with your own cloud. Sorry, this that doesn't look that great, but it converted from PowerPoint. I apologize. We can work with your cloud provider, and we have 3 pricing models there. Professional services, or we're also evangelizing and trying to get more service providers or systems integrators to use our solution to build applications. Also, product support and a license for the software, the platform. All right, so how are we going to market? Our initial execution is we're focused on 3 markets: United States, India, and UAE. UAE's a little bit more of a opportunistic thing. We've had some people involved that have approached us. Europe will be the next. Second is, so those are our key markets. But what are we going to sell them? What are we going to show them, right? We build so it's like if you build it, they will come kind of concept. I mean, if you put out a platform and nothing's built on it, does it exist, right? So we're building out applications or agents that work. And we are first focusing on banking, financial services, and then we'll eventually evolve into healthcare, technology, and several other organizations, legal. What we're learning is from the adoption and meeting with Gartner and several other places, banking financial services is making the largest investment in artificial intelligence. And depending on who you look at, it's either going to be government or it's healthcare, life sciences. Government seems to be both at the federal level and at the state level. I'm starting to see some traction there. And what they're focusing on, those industries are focusing on is, building out applications to, one, integrate with the current systems to get better data and make decisions, but also improve that. They're not talking about necessarily replacing people, which is the big buzzword. Artificial intelligence is going to replace people, but it's really more of, I got people, I got investments, and things don't work sometimes, or they're making bad decisions. How can artificial intelligence help them? That's why we're focusing first on banking financial services. So that should be my 6 minutes. Like I said, I have a product demo. If you are interested in artificial intelligence, if you're interested in Simpl AI, there's several things. We can give you a demo. What I could use, of course, is this was, like I said, a dress rehearsal for me, and I hope this worked. Yeah, I got questions, okay?
Yeah, okay, so we bought into something a year ago because I saw AI in the freaking 90s. This is nothing to it. It's horsepower now to actually run it. And so my problem is, we're taking a demo every week. We're actually buying a tool. A good example is we bought a voice tool, fascinating thing. It made 5,000 phone calls in 5 minutes, and the phone company turned off our phones. And
This goes back to the credit situation, right?
No, they said you're not allowed to make 5,000 phone calls in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And so they just turned our phone off. We got to turn back on. That was a good thing. So we're actually taking a demo every week. We had one yesterday on a fascinating product. And so I'll just be brutal with you. I have no clue what you're doing. I understand the voice AI stuff. I understand the interactive text, email, those kind of pieces. But I don't understand, because that's what we're going to buy. It's a productivity issue. I'm going to take 6 people, and they're going to do the work of 600 people. You could do it. This stuff is that freaking good right now. So I don't understand where your stuff plays.
Okay. That actually was a comment we got from one of the analysts as well, and why I'm trying to change this presentation about that and trying to get to 6 minutes. But, and I think we have 2 different audiences. I have 2 different audiences. I have a technical audience and a business audience. And, I look at the business audience, I look at everybody out here as the business audience, meaning you want to know how I can help you solve your problems, right? Like you said, which is, and if I looked at this from the perspective of banking financial services, I would have said, here's how I could help you. What we're finding is a 90% improvement in credit checks or approval. The quality of data that we're collecting or running through the process is improved by 50%. Different things like that. And again, part of this was me structuring the presentation. Thank you for that. And that, the other comment was, where have you done this before and how has it been done? But I realized again, this was 6 minutes, so.
To his point, I tuned back in when you started, like you went through TAM and SOM, but I really tuned back in when you started. So to his point, the first question, so you went through TAM, but I really tuned back in when you mentioned you help loan officers make better decisions. So that ties into just less vernacular
Yeah.
and then also ROI.
You know, back in the day, a few years ago, I worked for a company and trying to sell Salesforce. Is everybody familiar with Salesforce or CRM, right? And part of this was, you know, the art of the possible. You know, what is possible? And, you know, I thought about, you know, do I do that here? Or do I address some of the things that, you know, were brought up on the slide? I think going forward, this is the second time now in a couple of weeks I've heard some of those points, and I'm going to change it for that.
Great presentation. Question, can you have one slide and 60-second elevator pitch? Can you give that?
Can I? Yeah, of course.
Go ahead.
Do I have it now? No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I will.
That's what you need.
Yes.
When you go to investors, you will be shooting for investor.
Yeah.
You have to have one slide and 60-second elevator pitch. That's it. Wow. Can I have lunch with you tomorrow?
Yeah, this is the first time, you know, all my career, my background is in IT services, and this is the first time I'm a product marketer.
Yeah.
And
They don't care.
yeah, I know.
You want their money,
Yeah.
and they are holding their wallet. You have to create a wow. I can't believe this one.
Right.
You have to create a FOMO, fear of missing out, and they will sign it. That's what it will be needed. If you need, I can help you out. We will meet separate. Okay?
I like that.
Thank you.
FOMO.
And back.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have a comment and a question. I watched a podcast with Canon Copiers, and they almost dumped their UiPath project until AI came on. So it looked like your project was somewhat similar to UiPath in that you're integrating more AI in the agents as opposed to just straight algorithms. And then my question was, is your model you're charging by the AI token consumed, and then perhaps other units of use?
Yeah. That's the thing that, and I was talking about credits. Credits are a very vague term that, you know, we partly use, and I can, you know, it's too complex for even me to comprehend. I'm the business guy, and it's of usages consumed based upon, you know, either our hyperscaler that we use, which is Microsoft Azure, or something else. And then it's a profit on top of that.
When I hear justification for a service saying we're going to help make better decisions, it's very obscure, kind of undefined. What's a better decision? Can you create some concrete examples of where a specific persona was making a specific bad decision and where your service can correct that? Yeah,
Those were the case studies that I didn't get to. Those are the ones that, you know, specifically I got the feedback on. I have them in the bigger pitch deck, which is typically 30 minutes in length. Yeah.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to ask, do you have any traction already? Do you have any customers? Any?
We have 6 customers right now. There's a really cool B2B travel agency or travel experience. They have some really cool experiences that you can do, and they're using AI for that. They're not live in production. They've been working with us, and they're about to go live. We have a couple more, and our goal is and my goal is really two realms. One is obviously getting more customers, but also getting more systems integrators that will use our tool to get more customers.
Perfect.
Hey, I think it's a beautiful idea. My question is, my understanding it's going to go through APIs, and my question is not technical. I'm interested in the cost structure. Can you go to the slide where it says the subscription model is $30 to, yeah, that right there. How did you calculate this, the average cost from 30 to, I guess it's 100K is enterprise cost, right? How did you calculate this?
So that's a very broad term, and like I said, how this slide, I probably wouldn't put those numbers there now. And the reason for it is because it's a very broad term. First thing I would tell you is if you're going to structure a project, before you structure a project, and this goes back to your point about the dialers, I'd start with looking at what can I do a proof of concept on, what is small, what's going to cost me less than $30,000 to do, and that doesn't matter whether it's using our cloud or your own, and validate that you realize the benefits with this small proof of concept so that you can take it longer. Because when I see this, that means then, you know, if I'm a smaller company, I can't afford to spend $500,000, you know, on an engagement, right? And that's not the proof of concept. I want to see something that's going to generate either additional revenue, improved customer satisfaction, or better decision making and improved productivity, right? Those three things will allow me to basically pay for itself.
Hey, I appreciate you just getting up here and working through it and moving forward. Is there a way you can give a simple story, even though you don't have a lot of, you know, clients yet, that this is their problem, this is what we did, and this is the results, even if it's, you know, what you're dreaming of for a customer? Is there a way to do that?
Right. Yes, I do. It's kind of funny that although I say we're verticalizing and focusing on banking financial services, one real case study is with a company called Lawyered, LAWYERED.com. And it's a legal process, and the agents really basically improved the productivity of a lot of the document generation. So, you know, part of this, you know, with DocuSign you can fill out complex things, but the one thing that AI does a very great job of is summarizing content and also producing content for you to, you know, basically pre-fill, okay? And instead of generating and spending hours upon hours generating new legal documents, they can pre-fill all the content, you know, based upon, you know, the customers that they have and generate, and it saved them, and I have the numbers, I apologize, I don't have the case studies memorized, but saved them at least 50 to 70% productivity because of using AI for that.
So I was going to say, I think it's awesome. I think most people put a question into AI, they get out a list, and they just take it. To me, that's not creative at all. I think your key will be creativity, and give an example of what that creativity piece is. Mm-hmm. I think we have less creative people than we have before because people are thinking, well, AI is my creativity. So creativity, to me, is what I'm not hearing from any AI company. Also, have you ever heard the number that 1% of Google users actually know how to use Google the way it was meant to be? Frances Haugen, the whistleblower from
No, I never heard
Meta,
that.
she said, and I'm one of those 1%. And I didn't know that until I had read that book. But so often people put something in, but if you can give examples of, because I think the other thing is you're going to have to get if you can show how you can take your employees and put them in a room with no technology and put whiteboards up and say, what do you want to have happen? And then you take that and you run your model. That's what people want to see. I think that's what people want to see. And I'd buy it.
It's okay, I'm taking notes, right?
Yes.
All right. I apologize when I look down. Got to make sure I.
Bob asked you an excellent question. You didn't answer that question. That's what you have to answer to the investors. He asked, tell me in simplest way what problem you are solving, and give the answer. Most of the time, especially Series A, you are going for. I'm surprised at that. You need to have one slide and 1 minute elevator pitch nailed down, and you have to articulate that very, very well. That's it, not go too far. And you put the guardrail there. That's what it takes, okay? You have the information, but you are stumbling all over the place. They don't have patience. They have 10 seconds, they made a decision already about you and your business. And they have 180 seconds, 3 minutes maximum, whether they put money or not. That's what the business is all about. It's not that easy to get the Series A. You have to have ARR, annual recurring revenue. You have to have your product market fit. All that should be done before you go for Series A. And then you have to be able to present it. It's you. They are investing in you. So you have to prepare for it, okay? So if you need any help, I will spend some time with you. Thank you.
All right, last question. Yep.
Sure, I was just wondering, what's your team comp look like? What's your, are you local? Are you
I'm the only
working with-
person in the United States. Everybody else is in India.
Are you local? Are you founded?
Yeah, I'm here in Apopka. Here. I'm in Apopka, which is why I presented here first, because I've presented in the past, and I felt safe.
Perfect. All right, so that's our time. So get with Tony after if you have any other questions or suggestions. And what I heard here too is when you, especially with this, start with a story
Yeah.
or questions
I
that
am
will
gonna do that.
engage. Right? Have you ever, boom?
No, can you imagine what? I love the art of the possible. Can you imagine if you can do this? What would it take? You know, what would this look like? And again, if you know, put yourself in the stage that you're in banking, and I focus on that versus just pick something.
Right. Yeah. Where
But
either art of
I
possible.
really am taking your points, very valid.
Yeah. Well, Sean's somebody you definitely want.
I don't want
spend
to
time with.
stumble through much.
So, as a member and presenter here now, what can we, as the Orlando 1 Million Cups community, do to help you get to your next level?
Well, what I would love to do is redo my presentation and present it in a few weeks, you know, and revise it and make sure that it's the case, because I'm going to have to be giving this presentation a lot, and I want to tighten it up, right? So, and I don't want to go to market with something that, you know, like I said, I've been hearing this for the last few weeks, and it's you know, I trying to make this a little bit better, trying to focus on, you know, where the pricing is, but I didn't move the case studies in. I was really trying to focus on a structure that, you know, is a little bit different.
All right. Well, thank you for contributing and
All
sharing.
right, thank you so much.